And you are tuned to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen?
Greetings to you.
Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
Hello, we certainly hope the station for you is OTR. That's the Old Tube Radio Network. Here in Central California, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on channel 1127-085 is where we hang out, talking with and listening for the classic tube radios from 1958 to 1978 in the Class D Citizen Radio Service. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and hopefully you will hear some of your favorite radio stations. We've been doing this for well over 30 years, and we hope that you'll be able to participate with us tonight. My name is Dennis, your net control for the evening, and I think we'll go ahead and get right into the shortwave listener roll call. Old Tube radios will follow. It is the last weekend in June. That is Field Day. A lot of you may be doing Field Day or setting up to do Field Day, so I understand if you can't stay in too late. Maybe we'll get some Field Day check-ins from the stations as the bands sound pretty good. We were monitoring 40 meters and 20 meters earlier. 10 was working this morning. Doesn't sound too good right now, but you never know. We had some conditions last week. So we will get started with the Old Tube Radio roll call. Starting with our 00, and that is Mr. Bill, who checked in with us over the air last week. I will keep an eye out at oldtuberadio.net. If you can't get in via the airwaves, give us a shout at oldtuberadio.net or on the video. You can click on the video link, and I'll occasionally look over on the other monitor and be able to chat with you there. SWL number 1 is checked in for sure. Also, if you want to see if I've got you checked in, I try and confirm that over at oldtuberadio.net. You will see checking in or checked in on your status. SWL2, I haven't even looked over on the video side. Let's see if OBP is out there, and indeed he is in the video air chair tonight. Hello, Kevin. I don't know where our sunspot numbers are tonight. Perhaps you have left a note. I will check on that. We've been at 0 for a long time. I'm thinking that we probably got something coming in there. SWL3. SWL4, shortwave listener number 5, SWL6, SWL7,
SWL7 checking in.
Sounding good. Don't know if you're doing any Field Day stuff. I listened in. I haven't made any contacts with anyone, so sounds like the bands are fairly decent, if you're not on 10 meters anyway.
Well, from 7 o'clock until 3:30 this afternoon, I was playing in a golf tournament and took first place in my division.
All right. That is something I've never tried other than the miniature golf, but that doesn't count. I'm just not sure I'd be that coordinated. So hats off to you, and chasing that ball. Bowling is good because the ball actually comes back to you. In golf, you have to go chase the ball. But it sounds like your day has started off well, so we hope to keep it going.
Well, actually, that's Frisbee, disc golf.
There you go. So maybe if you throw it right, it might come back to you. All right, you're sounding good, sir. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
Up to SWL 11 and 12, I paused. I was hearing some interesting items coming over on the handy-talkie. I'm not sure what they're doing over there. 11 and 12, Jim and Lisa checked in via email. SWL 13, Mike. Mike sometimes checks in via Facebook, which is a way to do it, or at oldtuberadio.net. I see some of you checking in there. I will pop over there in just a moment. SWL 14. And on the video page, let me get rid of my picture here. You can still see it's very bright out here. We are not quite entered into the gray line yet. I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'll put in the S-meter so you can give yourself a radio check if you, there it is. Almost looks like it's in focus. SWL 15. SWL 16. SWL 17. Shortwave listener 18. SWL 19. Shortwave listener 20.
Number 20 here, if you can hear me. And check in number 29 also.
Will do. Yeah, you're loud tonight, very loud. So if we had some skip conditions, it would probably be our skip net control. Glad to have you back in the air chair tonight. We got you checked in last week, and we hope that it will cool off enough for you to jump into the radio room and give us a few contacts on whatever might be on the workbench. And we will get 29 in at the appropriate time. SWL 21, who is hiding out in the Wasama Swamp tonight, trying to get past the lightning or whatever kind of inclement weather is going on. The ground rod is ready to beacon whenever he can put the giant clip lead on there and keep going. Mr. JT trying to keep away from the lightning strikes. We've got you checked in tonight. Over to SWL 23. Shortwave listener 24. SWL 25.
Hello, Dennis, 25, checking in.
Sounding good. Sounding good tonight. I hope I can return the favor. Hope everything's okay at the ranch. Not sure if you did any field day contacts today, but you're sure sounding good on 11 meters.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. No, actually, I grouting tile today, which is not a lot of fun. In fact, I officially retire forever having to lay tile and grout again. So anyway, but yeah, I will tune around maybe tomorrow. And thanks for checking me in.
Yeah, I've got to check and see what my designator is, 1A or 2C or something, single up, not portable. You know, you got to find out what your numbers are. Okay, I've never done tile. I've done bricks. So it's like big tile, and I know what you mean. But I bet it looks great, and in years from now, you'll say, I put in all that tile, and you can tell the story. Take a much-needed break, and maybe we'll hear some radios tonight. If not, we've definitely got you checked in. Thanks. Heading over to page 2, but first, I want to remind everyone that we are streaming at oldtuberadio.net if you're listening in and would like to check it there. Also, we are on the YouTube video, which is up and running. What are we showing? We're showing the S-meter. Speaking of video, let me go over and see who is out there listening. I think that's Randy, the 5 land in November, India. Hello there. Field day this weekend. Haven't been in years. 30. Well, I don't even know if we have a local crew doing field day this year. Normally the Fresno Amateur Radio Club does. And I'm not sure. I'm not. How do you put a Golden Eagle Mark III on 40 and 80 meters? I know you could probably run it up to 10 meters. Okay, I've never heard one up there. I have heard a lot of converted 11 meter radios from the 10 meter AM guys. Also, OBP is in there. Smarty Jones, hello from New York. See if we get any 6 meter activity tonight. DD21. Also waving a hand. So we've got enough people out there on the video side if you want to jump in and chat with them over there. Also, before we get to page 2, let me say hello to Albert. Al's in Squamish, British Columbia, checking in. We sometimes hear the 10-meter beacons out of BC. I think there's a VE7TY or TM, but there's a VE7 that comes in really, really nice. So if conditions permit, you might be able to hear us on 27085, and I'll be checking in the rest of you listening in out there. SWL 27. And a reminder that I do not have the crossband up and active. Did I say hello to our stations listening in all the way from Fresno, of course? Maryland, we've got Centerville, Virginia, Somerville, South Carolina coming up to you. Hello to Larry, south of here. Delaware checking in tonight, staying up late, coming up to Hendersonville. Woodland Park, Colorado, listening in to see if we can catch the skip conditions. Hello to Washington, a couple of Washington stations, Meade, Spokane. Might hear you guys tonight. He did hear you last week. Coming up to North Carolina soon. Hello, Kentucky. Sounds like it might have an Australian station listening in as well, and up in Albury. Looking for, no, we've got SWL 29 checked in on a proxy over to SWL 30. Got to mark my X's here on the big page, otherwise this isn't going to work too well. SWL 31, I do see you guys tuned in right in the center of the audience tonight. And also with a comment, I have a full wave CB antenna. Is it more effective than a quarter wave, a full wave, or a half wave? If it's a full wave, I'm going to say it would have to be in a loop configuration. If you've got a full wave loop and you've got it matched correctly, what does a loop take? A 9-to-1 balun? Because you've got some matching issues going on there. So if you got a full wave, you got to do some matching. And I think it's 9-to-1. Half wave, quarter wave. That's what I'm using, is a quarter wave Starduster. Half wave is good, 5/8. I don't think it's a bucket of worms, but if you did a full wave vertical, and it depends on how you're feeding. Well, you got to feed it at the end. You could do an end fed. I don't know. That could be tricky. I won't call it a can of worms, but it's going to be tricky. You got to get it matched correctly. I think you would be easier. I don't know if it better off is the word, but you'd be easier just a half wave dipole, and then you could hang it vertically, go horizontal or V-shaped. So that'd be the way to go. The way to experiment would be half wave, and you can feed it with coax direct. Not worry about matching. Of course, it's going to work well on receive. The full wave will work well on receive. Its transmit's going to be tricky. So thanks for checking in tonight. Found a mic for the Cobra 88. Is Cam 88 also a Vibratrol CA300 Transcomp amp? Not sure what that is. We'll have to check that out. And we'll see if we get a Cobra Cam 88 tonight. Let's continue on with the roll call. The glow-in-the-dark radios will be coming in shortly. And let me mark you on the list. There, I got to click that to make it official. Check in for Robert and Teresa. SWL 32. SWL 33, myself and Bozo Control. Who is here running around behind the rack, checking all the cables? We heard the jingle singers earlier, so I think, Bozo, I think everything is good. Don't mess up what is working. SWL 34. SWL 35. I didn't see Bill in on the net or actually live and direct like last week, so keep an eye out. SWL 36. Shortwave listener 37.
SWL 37.
SWL 37. You are sounding good in the Radio Shack tonight. Hope you are doing well. You're sounding good.
Well, yeah, I'm trying. So, yeah, we'll try to get out there in a little while.
Indeed. I'll be here. We'll be here till at least 10 o'clock. Where the weather is great. 87 degrees, I think, is what is outside. 80 degrees in the Radio Shack. Not stormy like it is in Iowa tonight, where John is, the mighty Juliet Whiskey, and also lightning, South Carolina, for Mr. JT. Hope conditions clear up and you can get all the antennas where they should go. Let's try SWL 39. SWL 40. I know 40 is out there because he was doing some relays for me. He might be chasing the mices, the mouses, the mice. They're hanging out in the Radio Shack. Larry, if you're listening, I've got you checked in over. SWL 41. SWL 42. Shortwave listener 43. I'm going to stretch way around behind me and take a look at the wiggle meter. So it looks like we're okay. That's ergonomically bad to have your test things behind you. You never know. We never know if you're blowing up until you smell the smoke and then it's too late. SWL 44. Hello, 44. I hear you live and direct from the hill. Hope everything is going okay up there. All right. Hope we can get it all straightened out and taken care of and all that good stuff. So enjoy it while you can. Good to hear you live and direct. All right, thanks for listening. I was going to make a comment. What kind? Oh, John asking, what kind of radio am I talking on? Well, to do the live stream and listening, I'm actually not on a tube radio for the transmitter. I've got some low-level modulated AM rig, and you can see in fact, you're looking at the S meter if you're watching the video. But to link up and have an audio output so I can feed the audio stream, sometimes the tube radios introduce hum and do some weird things. So to keep everybody happy, if I am on a tube radio, I normally put it off to the side. But that's what's going on here. We've got a low-level modulated AM radio to keep everybody happy. So, also Bob and Steve up in Ohio, running their show concurrently with the Old Tube Radio Network, sending flowers to the Jingle Singers. No wonder they hit one song at the beginning and sort of flew the coop. So when you all jump into the green room tonight, make sure that you ask for some wine. That's W-I-N-E. I'm sure you will get some W-H-I-N-E from the Jingle Singers. Let's head over to SWL 45.
Very good as always, Jack. 45.
All right, I think things will be a bit easier tonight at this point. I don't hear any of the skip conditions we had coming up to the gray line, so who knows what will happen. You're sounding great as always. Thanks.
Thanks, Jack.
And I believe the stream is up and running. Hello, SWL 111 saying you can't hear the stream or on air. I'm assuming that the stream is up and running. You know what? I can confirm by just turning this up. So let me do that. Okay, yeah, the stream is up and running. I can do a little QC on that. So the stream is up and running. Check your audio. Check your audio controls. I think there's a little audio control thing that looks like a magic eye. If you click on that, there may be a stop and start button that will get you audio. Also, I think above the big tube is a pause stream, start stream. Make sure that is not saying start stream. It should actually say pause stream, and that means the stream is running. That'll turn your audio on. So I think that could be the issue if you're not hearing the audio. Also, and if you're not hearing the audio, you may not hear these instructions. But if you are hearing the instructions, that's how you get the audio to start on oldtuberadio.net. Directed net roll call, the tube radios will show up after the directed net. Let's try SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47.
Okay, hopefully this is working.
It is working over.
Oh, good. About maybe 10 SWL listeners ago, I think you made a comment about having to turn around and look at your some sort of an S meter, make sure that you were actually putting out a signal. I couldn't figure out why I was listening for like 15 minutes and nothing was going on until I realized that there was no coax attached to the back of this radio. But it's warmed up, and now it has an antenna attached to it. So there it is. Greetings from the Radio Lounge.
Greetings. It sounds marvelous. I haven't done the no coax thing. I know some people have, yourself included. Thanks to fessing up for that. But I've done the, boy, it sure is quiet, and I look over at the cheap and yellowy MFJ antenna switch, and it is pointed towards the dummy load. That has happened more times than I'd like to think about. But that's why occasionally I have to look behind me for the SWR power meter to make sure the SWR is not through the roof and that it is the wiggle meters are running correctly. So that's the way I do it. When the Radio Shack, if the Radio Shack ever gets reconfigured properly, then of course I will get ergonomically correct. Thanks for checking in. SWL 48. Keep an eye out for Sam on various modes. SWL 49.
Hello, Dennis. 49ers checking in live and direct from good old Fresno, California. Hello, hello.
Hello, radio at 8S units. Don't know where you're at, but I hear you loud and clear on the big radio and beaconing on the audio stream and the video as well. You mentioned that you were going to make a trip out here, so I hope you, in the time you have, you get everything done, see all the people you want to see, and you can check this one off the list. A live and direct check-in on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over.
Okay, great. Yeah, actually, we have a house out here now, and we are back for good. I'm now over in the Clovis Avenue to Larry Avenue, and I think I'm running about 3.5 watts here on the Fort Robin. So if you can hear us, we are happy, and it's good to be back and out of that Wisconsin cold. So thank you very much for the check-in, Dennis, and we'll have that big audio happen here soon.
That should be fun. Yeah, you're at S8, 8S units, and that's a pretty decent hop here into Midtown, and my antenna is low. So any more altitude will work better. Radios will work better. So if I see you on the stream, it will not be a WI, it'll be a CA. Welcome back, and we'll be glad to pick you up anytime. It's always nice to come home and and say, hey, the Old Tube Radio Network is still on the air. Thanks for checking in. That is Computer Man Brian, who hopefully will also be able to get some antennas up for the other bands as well, as he can be radioactive for that. Brian has some, if he still has them, some pretty nifty Old Tube radios. And haven't had him on the list in a while, so that's going to be fun. Brian back in town here. Next we have SWL 50. SWL 51.
51 checking in.
51 sounding good, Dave. 305. We've got you checked in. Thanks for saying hello to the world and the Old Tube Radio Network. Who else has joined us? Another New York station. I tuned in earlier on 75 meters. Didn't hear the New York guys coming in. Hello to Oceanside, California. Portland, Oregon checking in. Don't have any skipping conditions. Mountain View, California. That's the Google bots. Hello, Google. We're behaving. Google checking up on us. We are behaving. We're trying to behave anyway. How about SWL 52? Shortwave listener 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53, Bel Air, checking in.
That's Bravo, Oscar Bravo, as they often say. Hello, Bob, Mr. Bel Air, checking in to the Old Tube Radio Network. You're sounding good, and thanks for listening tonight.
Thank you.
Page 3, direct net roll call. The Tube radios will be coming up here, so don't go away. SWL 54. SWL 55.
55, checking in, Dennis. And can I proxy 65 up the appropriate time, please?
X in the square for 55. We certainly can do that, and I will do that right now with a little arrow for Eric. Gotcha. And thanks for checking in.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 56.
Well, good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
We hope to get a few kicks tonight as we're checking in the radios. The good kind of kicks. I guess there are bad kicks and good kicks. We are into good kicks tonight. Thank you, Phil. SWL 57. SWL 58.
Hello, Dennis. SWL 58, checking in. Thank you, sir.
5 dB over S9, SWL 58, beaconing through over the old tube radio network. Thank you, Jeremy. Over to SWL 59, SWL 60.
Thanks a lot there, Dennis. We're this evening time to all the guys out there on the band. This evening we're going to check in our 148, kind of blowing the dust out of it. I hope it's making the trip to you.
5 dB over S9 when you're saying nothing, another 5 dB when you modulate, so that's a good thing. Really loud and clear and crisp audio. No distortion whatsoever. That thing is tip-top.
Okay, Dennis, appreciate it. We'll be on the site.
Sounding good, SWL 60, Joe. And the 291 checking in on page 3. Over to SWL 61.
61 checking in, Dennis.
We got good conditions tonight. Everyone is sounding good. Hello, Dean. We've got you checked in.
Thank you, sir.
SWL 62.
Evening time, Dennis. I guess I got you too early there. This is 62 checking in from downtown Clovis.
Well, 62, we're looking good. We're on frequency, on time. I'm not sure what's happening in beautiful downtown Clovis this evening. Maybe people are just strolling up and down Pulaski Avenue while the sun is still out here. You're sounding great, and we've got you checked in.
It's at least a little bit comfortable tonight.
It is good. You're sounding good for a young fellow. You're sounding good for a young fellow that has been checking in for a long time. And I suppose if the old Tube Radio Network had been out here for 70 years, you have been checking in there until. Anyway, we've got you. Lucky Lindy, Rex out of Clovis checking in. Next, we'll go to SWL 63. That's BB out of New York. Get an X in the square for him. Got a couple of New York stations listening in tonight. Late night. Heading into Sunday morning. SWL 64. SWL 65 checked in. SWL 66. SWL 67. SWL 68. SWL 69. SWL 70.
Hello, Dennis. 70 checking in.
70, and I don't have my designator. I'd give you a field day contact. Not sure if you made any contacts or were involved in FD today, but you've got a point here on the old Tube Radio Network.
I'll take it. No, you haven't messed with it, and I've got my hex beam's still down. All I've got up there is the verticals, basically for 10 and 11 meters, so not too much. I was putzing around on a tractor all day long. Anyhow, thanks very much.
All right, and thank you for checking in to the old Tube Radio Network tonight, where in probably less than 10 minutes we will be talking about the tube radios tonight. Speaking of tube radios, here's a gentleman that has a few. And that's Stan out in Dallas, Georgia, who, if the radio room is configured right, might be looking at a Pure Simpson Guardian 23. Hello, Stan. And I know if you're listening, it may be not too long because Stan is involved with Field Day. His group has some stations running single sideband, I guess a couple, and one doing a CW and one running FT8. And their call is Whiskey 4 Romeo Sierra Charlie, W4RSC. So any of you out there doing the field day on sideband CWR FT8. That's Stan and his group out there. Today and tomorrow, you might even be able to say hello to Sam on the field day. Next is SWL 72. SWL 73.
You could proxy in 73 and check in 42.
Okay, I will get 40. I knew you were out there. I figured you might be giving the mouse some food that isn't you. We get 73 checked, and I'm sure 73 is at field day somewhere, probably in the CW. I would definitely think he's running in the CW table. And we got you checked in as well. Thanks. SWL 74.
Mr. D, I haven't talked to you in forever. It's Miss J checking in on, I don't know what. Oh, no, I'm not checking that radio. Jerry says I'm not checking in any radio. I'm just checking in. Okay. I have to mind.
Yes, you are checking in you. Even better than a radio. Miss J, sounding good, SWL 74, beaconing on the Old Tube Radio Network at 27085 Channel 11, and also worldwide at oldtuberadio.net. It is nice to have you in the radio room tonight. Thanks for, as we say on 11 meters, waving a hand over.
I miss you. Anyway, I haven't talked to you in a long time. I'm calling from my 50,000 watt radio load.
50,000 watts is doing quite well. Hopefully it is burning a hole in the ionosphere, allowing the not quite 50 watt stations to fall through the hole later on this evening. So we thank you for doing that. And also thanking you for checking in. SWL 74, over. Always nice to hear Miss J at the 50,000 watt microphonium up there in Madera Heights. Looking for SWL 75. SWL 77. SWL 78.
Break station.
The break station, go ahead, over.
BAP checking in. And good evening, everyone.
As we say hello, radio, let me get you checked in here. Mark Monkey's uncle at the microphonium. And you're sounding good, and we've got you checked in, over. And let's see, let's finish up page 3 with SWL 79, SWL 80. Over to page 4, SWL 81, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Steve Areno, who is not quite at the coiled cord microphonium tonight, but has wired in the digital mode to say hello over on the video side. So hello, Steve, if you're listening. We do have you officially checked in from your super secret location. Sounds like you're having a good time, and that is a good thing here on the 22nd day of June, 2019. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 82.
82, checking in from the Ditch Banks of Biola, and welcome to the weekend.
The weekend is upon us, and it feels like a weekend. Well, my kind of weekend, so I'm hoping that I will have the entire day to myself tomorrow to do all those weekend-type things. As always, the radio is sounding good here in Midtown, and we've got you checked in, Ron. SWL, where are we going? 84.
Check in 84 and his girls, please.
I will do that. We'll get to Jerry and the gang with no problem. Thank you for that. SWL 85. And was that a proxy for 85, over? All right, we got a proxy for John and Reedley. Reedley Town is as Tim Tron would say, my piss weak and yellowy station. My signal is not making it to Reedley tonight, so we got Reedley checked in 85, and also a triple play for 86, 87, and 88. That is the Mount Maid Tandy Girl and Snowy Owl, respectively. Also want to say hello to Colorado checking in, Rob. Chilly 40 degrees and a chance of snow. I didn't do a lot of news, but I saw the headline saying that they got the summer solstice snowstorm at 40 degrees. Well, that's what happens when your state, what's the lowest point? 5,000 feet or something? I guess those things can happen. I don't know. Did we send you that way? We are having cool weather. It was 90. It wasn't even 90 today. Was it 90, 91? We could well have 101 easily. So that's our version of a snowstorm here in California. And Steve Areno, SWL, or rather Ron, 82, just checked in. Rob up in Colorado is waving a hand. Hoping to catch you on a 10-meter contact again sometime. All right, Rob, thanks for listening in, and you might have an ear tuned out on 27085. No conditions. We had some earlier this morning. See what happens when the sun goes down. Starting our gray line here in Central California, the radios will be coming up if I stop talking. Let's try SWL 89. SWL 90. And let's see, am I supposed to? Let me check this. No, 90. SWL 92. SWL 93. No snow here. It's just a super nice day. A lot of people out at the barbecue. I expect a lot of check-ins. Before we go off the air tonight, you can check in anytime when you hear the sound of the Old Tube Radio Network net control. SWL 98.
Check it in, Dennis.
Sounding good, sir. SWL 98, Fresno Dave on the frequency this evening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
SWL 103. Not in the mobile. SWL 109. SWL 110. From Reedley Town, checking in earlier, having some problems on the DX mode, and hopefully you got the stream up and running, but we've got you checked in, Robert, if you're listening or can hear me, or you check in on the stream. We do archive. Go up the archive button at oldtuberadio.net and hear just about everything we've been doing for a while here. Over to SWL 114.
114, checking in.
114. Sounding good, Wayne, and we've got you checked in.
Thank you. Can you proxy in 54, please?
Yeah, let me do that. Let me take a moment here to check in SWL 54. That's Larry, and also beaconing in at oldtuberadio.net. And I wonder if you're getting some of that cold weather that Colorado's experiencing. Hello, Mr. Bill. It was a treat to hear you live and direct last week, and we're getting your 35 and 00 checked in. Listening in at oldtuberadio.net. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you, Wayne. 14 is in. SWL 128. I can't remember if John Lee was doing an early call tonight, if he was doing field day or not. But he is out there listening. Like me, he is chomping on the bit to get antennas up in the air, and antennas that he already has, just getting a chance to get the supports and everything necessary to get them up in the air. And where he's at, I have good conditions on 20 meters, 15 meters, 10 meters. So John Lee, I know I'll be talking to you on the other HF bands when we get our antennas up and running. Next, we are going to SWL 131. SWL 133.
Good evening, Dennis. 133 checking in.
133, sounding good tonight. Sounds like you've got the right wire and switch connected here for Midtown. Thank you, Dave. SWL 135. I think somebody said to proxy in Cliff, which I will do. SWL 137. Up the hill to SWL 145.
Keelan, November 6, Charlie, Papa Charlie, checking in.
All right. Charlie, November Charlie. Was that CNC?
Kilo, November 6, Charlie, Papa Charlie. I just got my call sign this week. I took the test on the 8th and I became official on the 18th. Roger.
Roger. I know a couple other KN6s that just got their license. Good deal. So what is that in code? If we're doing Morse code, it'd be da-da-da, da-dit, da-dit-dit-dit, da-da-da-dit, da-da-da-dit, da-da-da-dit. How about that? How about that for a mouthful? Hello, Tony. You're sounding good. And hopefully you will get some radios and radioactive, and we'll be checking in with you on all sorts of frequencies up there in Corscall. You got a good location. You sound like you got a good location for some VHF items as well. They'll love you during field day for context. Sounding good here on 11 meters tonight. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
The Kilowatt November 6, the King Nancy 6. What other moniker, what other alphabets can we do for KN? We know some people like to keep it the official phonetic alphabet, but you can have fun with it sometimes. Let's head over to SWL 147, who is also radioactive in the ham bands, and I think Neil is out there listening tonight, checking in. Back in the house. Yeah, we missed you last week. Somebody, I don't know, it looks like somebody checked you in. Somebody proxied you in. Maybe I did. I don't know. But we got you checked in tonight. He's doing field day at the Methodist University in Fayetteville. Lots of action, everything from CW on up. Good conditions on 11. I heard 10 this morning. A few traces right now, but no West Coast. Good luck in field day. Have fun with that, and thanks for taking time out to say hello to all of us here at the Old Tube Radio Network. That's Neil, who is out in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Over to SWL 195. Also in Corscold, 195. Hello, Jim. Sounding good. We've got the X in the square. And the Old Tube Radio Network is just about ready for those tube radios. When you hear 195 checking in, you should be flipping the switch to warm up the radios. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 226. Who did I miss? Who would like to check in or make a comment before we check? Greasy Fried Donuts. That's right, OBP. Who gave me that one? You know who gave me that one was Pat. Mr. YEP came up with Greasy Fried Donuts, and I can't remember why. He had a story about Greasy Fried Donuts, but I'm stuck with it. Any other check-ins here on the Old Tube Radio Network? All right, I need a few minutes or a minute or two to get everything set up for the Tube Radio check-ins. That'll be coming up shortly. We will change the stream for a minute. Your tube will go away, but it will come back. And when it does, we will have the glow-in-the-dark radios. Hope to hear yours. OTR, back in a bit. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite slot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
We hope the station for you is OTR. Good evening, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network on the air with your favorite part, my favorite part, the glow-in-the-dark tube radio check-ins. Gray line is just about to happen, as you can see out the OTR window here. Not sure what the conditions will be like, but we know the conditions will be good for tube radio check-ins. We are listening for them now.
45, 25.
And we have a couple. SWL 45. Hello, Paul. Go ahead and step up into the air chair. We'll pick you up here at 8:49 Pacific Daylight Time. And hello, Jerry. Head over to the Studio B, up into the green room. Thanks to our Ohio contingent, it looks like there is wine and some goodies over, if the jingle singers haven't used it all up yet, and we'll catch you here as radio number 2. And Paul, let me see. I got to make sure I've got everything ready to do this, and I think I do. Hello, Paul. If you can hear me, let's talk radios. It's about time we heard some tubes, and you're going to help us out. Over.
Okay. All right. This is Pierce Simpson. I'll get a CDB-5.
Pierce Simpson. And I'm looking to see if I have perhaps that in my database. Hey, you know what? It shows that it is your radio. I got to adjust the camera here, so I'll just do it live. The tube radio camera, it was adjusted earlier. This is a pretty radio. What a nice looking radio. Pierce Simpson, AC, Charlie Delta Bravo number 5. It's a great shot. If that's it is from your collection. With the map in the background, I like that. The microphone on top. Pierce Simpson they must have had a good designer. I like a lot of their designs and how they put things together. Give us another transmission on that radio. We'll talk about it. I see that it looks like it has 5 channels, so we'll assume it's from the early 60s. Great audio. Back to you. Over.
That's surprising you see the audio is good on the thing. It doesn't look that good on the meter, but maybe it's getting out there. I'm not noticed yet. Glad it is. Anyway, it's a 5-channel crystal radio. And the thing is, it's a 12-volt power supply, 117 AC, DC, the AC, performance, SuperNet, all that other stuff, good stuff. It's got a carbon mic. Now, I'm going to ask you a question about it. Do you know what kind of mic that thing is? I can't find a name other than it says Pierce Simpson on the back of the microphone. But I'm sure it says it's a carbon mic, and it feels like a carbon mic, so it's the original mic. Back to you.
Now, let me check my information that I have here. I don't know right offhand. And I wonder if Stan is listening. Stan knows a lot about the Pierce Simpson radios, SWL 71. We are talking about the CDB-5. My notes are showing 1959 to 1961, so that was one of their first offerings, I'm going to say. But boy, does it look modern. Typically, first offerings were the wired-in microphone like is there, and only one channel and maybe a knob, maybe a light if you're lucky. 5-channel crystal control, transmit and receive, universal transistorized, 117 and 12-volt power supply, 11.2 performance, super het, 1 RF, and 2 455 KCIF stages. Series noise limiter. Sounds like it should have a very good receiver. And your audio is great. Your probably output, your power output is probably not more than watt or 2, but I'll put up the S meter. You see you got a lot of good forward modulation, and that really helps with the audio. Adjustable squelch, ding, 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 carbon mic. Lincoln Pi Network output. So pilot bulb output indicator, TV eye lamp. They packed a lot into this thing. And it does say on our notes that is indeed, that's the original issue, which it looks like it is a carbon microphone. Over.
Yeah, okay. There's no name as far as the manufacturer. I don't believe that Pierce Simpson manufactured them. Or anything's possible, however. But I got the mic here like them. They're most all the same thing. They don't have the name of the people in the back that actually manufacture it. I don't know. Very interesting. So I'm going to look some more. There's hardly no information on this radio anywhere. And I'm sure it was one of the first, if not the first ones that they came out with. And the front of the thing is the only light it's got on it, and that's the transmit power line. And that's above, on the right-hand side up there, above the channel selector, which is down below that, 5 channels. To the left is the volume, and then up is 12 power on. And it's got a front large speaker, the thing, which is kind of nice. It's a little bit larger than the Zero Radio Telephone VS Series mobile radio, a little bit larger. And it's definitely a lot prettier. Back to you, Dan.
It's a pretty radio. I like their design. I'm going to switch over to the S meter. I know when I switch the cameras, the audio goes bonky, so I'm trying not to switch the audio. Switch the cameras at the same time our stations are on, so it won't mess up their audio. But we're on the S meter now, so I'm going to put the S meter on so it'll be on the archives. You can give yourself a signal report. Also, when you come back next time, I will do a frequency check on your 1 of 5 crystals for channel 11. But if you listen to the archives or watch the video, I think you'll be very pleased on how the radio sounds for an S8. I think you're about S8, modulating up a little bit more than that. On a carbon microphone, good fidelity. It's the Pierce Simpson CDB5. Back to you. Over.
Okay, well, before you check my frequency, you'll find it 2 kcs high. No, 2 kcs low. Time to be looking around for another crystal, but it's just you can hear me. That's about the main thing. Give me enough time?
Yeah, I should have a camera that I can switch into the frequency meter, and then you'd see what's happening. Don't change the crystal. Do not change the crystal. You are almost right on frequency. I'm going to say you're about 90 cycles low, maybe less than that. Those listening into the stream, when I popped into a lower sideband, I think that's where I was. I didn't have to go far to zero beat you at all. You just have a little bit of heterodyne when I'm on center slot. So you are definitely not 2 kc low. It's maybe about 100 cycles. At least on this transmission, on this writing of the Pierce Simpson CDB5. So maybe it's warmed up. Over.
Yeah, well, now you got me wondering. Maybe my frequency counter's not cooperative. I don't know. It usually has something always goes wrong. That's probably the problem. Well, I can't be sure a little about it, but that's just me a whole lot. Hey, that's just a little interesting radio. I got the bracket for the mounting and everything. So definitely designed to be mounted in a vehicle. And it's very solid construction thing. And you tune the outside of it, which makes it nice. That's about it for it. Back to you.
All right, I went back just to check, and it's slowly moving. Sounds like it's slowly moving up on frequency, but very slow. So I don't think it could slide very much, even on what they call the AM guys call an old buzzard transmission. Wow, sorry about the audio boost there. Let me get back down on the audio. Lincoln Pi Network pilot bulb and output indicator TVI trap. That actually has a TVI trap. Pilot bulb and output indicator. So yeah, even though your output indicator might not be showing too much, like I said, I'm thinking your power might only be a watt or two, but it really shines when you put audio in there. You wouldn't even need to put a power amplified mic on that at all. Carbon microphone is doing good. Talking with Paul. He's up at North Fork, which is what, 30 or 40 miles as a crow flies from here, maybe 30 miles, straight shot. Certainly not right in downtown Fresno, and doing a nice job on his Pierce Simpson CDB5. That's the radio you're seeing on the screen. So thank you, Paul. Radio number 1 at 8:49. And let's see, checking my notes to see who's next. Next is probably coming up the stairs, putting down the wine glass. Hello, SWL25.
Well, how'd you know to tell me to put down the wine glass? Anyway, Dennis, got to have a sonar checked in tonight, at least one. The Sonar Model G mobile 8 Smith with a VFO, and has the spot button on it, so you can dial it right in if you happen to be using the VFO. And talking on the non-powered stock Sonar big fat microphone. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Changing the screen over to the Sonar Model G. It's a big picture. I can't get the whole thing in, so let me... Because I want to get the giant microphonium in there as well. Just super, super loud audio on the Sonar, but one expects that. There's the 8-channel selector control. Sonar's known for their loud audio. The Model G was one of the more deluxe models, and that didn't have 23 channels, but it did have the tunable receive, all 8 channels, and an S-meter, price at $229.50 when it was out and about and new in the mid-60s? No, probably early 1960s. I don't have an exact date. Sounds good. Give us another transmission. And, hey, I know, I'm going to ask, if the S-meter is working and it's lit up and you can see it, I'm asking for my signal report. That's what what we used to do? They say, what am I hitting you with? What am I hitting you with, over?
Well, if this thing is accurate and dialed in, it's probably about an S7, according to the signal meter on this, and who knows, from 1963, that'd be, 50 something. I'm sorry, I'm a little rum dummy tonight, but that's 50 plus years. But I tell you what I'm talking is swinging 10 over S9, so it seems to be working. So I would say I got you at S7. Dennis, back to you.
And you are S9. I didn't pull up the S-meter here. I'm taking a shot of the Sonar. I think I have another shot of the Sonar radio. I'll swap it while I'm talking. I don't know if it'll mess the audio up, but of course, nothing is ever in frame. There we go. I see even a better picture without the microphone. If you went to Sonar Model G High School, you would be having this year, you would be having your 56th reunion at Sonar Model G High School. So there you go. It sounds good. I'm glad you got prepped up in the green room in the Jingle Singers. Radio number 2 at 8:55 when we checked in, and we're over the top of the hour here. Jingle Singers are heading over to the ribbon microphone, but we want to get you enough airtime in there. I'll do a frequency check, see how the crystal on the Sonar is doing when you come back next time. The audio is excellent. Over.
Very good, Dennis. Yeah. For emergency purposes only. Channel 1, Channel 8, Channel 11, which we happen to be on right now, 27.085. Channel 13, 14, 16, and 20. Wow, 23. That must have a crystal. I've never tried it. No reason to try those other crystals because the place to be is right here on 27.085, Dennis. Anyway, back to you.
Got super loud audio. Just popped up the Orban loudness meter. And let's see, where am I peaking? I'm at like minus 17, 18. You're at minus 15. So I always am amazed when I watch back the archives and the stations checking in sound better than I do. And I'm connected direct into the audio stream, and the stations checking in sound better than I do. And this is one of them, Sonar Model G, sounding good. Frequency about 300 cycles high, not bad at all. Right on. The crystals are working quite well in the Model G, and our Sonar fans tonight are enjoying your great audio. We'll go back to you for another transmission. We'll say 73. Thanks for bringing by the Sonar. At the top of the hours, the Jingle Singers will be next, but first, let's hear the Sonar one more time. Thanks.
All right, Dennis. Thanks a lot for doing what you do and checking in these old boat anchors, and it's amazing they're still working after all these years. Anyway, thanks, Dennis. Back to you. 37.
37 acknowledged. We'll be right back, and have fun, Jerry, at your 56th Sonar Model G high school reunion. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
We hope the station for you. I didn't know the camera switched. Hello. Sometimes they do that to me. They just say, yeah, you're on, but they don't tell me. We need a camera over in the other studio so we can see the Jingle Singers doing their thing. Hello, my name is Dennis. This is the Old Tube Radio Network, which is a gathering of people interested in the tube radios of the Citizen Band era from about 1958 to 1978. You may have some yourself listening in. Always invite those who are within the RF zone to bring them by and transmit. And if the RF zone happens to pop up where you are and you can hear Channel 11, this is not a club, no secret handshake or special key required to jump in on Channel 11 here and say hello to us on the Old Tube Radio Network. We have been doing this for probably 34 years. I lose track. It's been well over 30 years on Saturday evenings here, starting at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And as we always say, we welcome anyone to participate. I was checking my notes here. And we do have a tube radio ready to go. Stepping up into the air chair now is Mr. Chris Hello Radio.
And hello, Dennis again. Hey, Dennis, I want to check in this radio here. It's a General radio telephone, the Super MC11A, 24-channel tuber, that's for sure. That's what it says on the front. And we're running this here with a handheld stock microphone. Over.
Handheld stock microphone is looking nice. Let me switch over to the video while I am talking. And we'll go back to, we got a great picture of the General Super MC11A. Feature the radio, and then I'll pan down the microphone as we talk about that. This radio, not the last offering from General Radio Telephone, but one of the last, maybe the last one that was FCC type accepted. Super loud and nice. Built in California, beautiful downtown Burbank, I think was possibly where their manufacturing facility was. I know a lot of times they were working on the kitchen table at the owner's place, peeking and tweaking, but they did a good job on this one. Back to you. Give us a transmission. It's sounding wonderful. Over.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. You're sounding wonderful over this way here, too. You know, I got you in here probably about 20 over 9, so maybe between 20 to 30 over 9, I should say, on the other radio. This in here, it's stingy. It's showing only 9, so, but, you know, as a bigger radio, it's more accurate.
Yeah, they are relative. There is, the way they adjust the S meter, they put the signal in, and then there were two standards. There was the Art Collins standard, and I think that gives you a stingier meter reading. And it was 50 microvolts at something for S9. And then the other one was 100 microvolts. So there's two ways to calibrate them. One gives you stingy, one gives you more, but it's all relative. So as long as I can tickle the S meter in some point and you can hear me, that's what counts. For those not familiar with the General Radio Telephone, This particular model, the Super MC11A, has 9 tubes. It says there's 2 transistors, but I think it has something to do with the DC power inversion. Information about this in Sam's PhotoFax CB22. And of the 9 tubes, some of the magic comes from the 12AX7A, I'm sure, on the mic preamp, but especially the ECLL800. Look that one up and find out about it. The modulator output tube, the ECLL800 general radio went to those, either on the Super MC8 or the MC9, on the MC9, and made a big difference. Nice, loud output, doing good stuff. Back to you, UR Radio 3, and back to you for another transmission. Over.
Yeah, betcha. Well, thank you for being there. I'm going to be out for a while. I'm going to watch a movie here, movie night once in a while with the wife. So, anyway, if it's over in time, I'll try to get back in. Or if we don't do it, I'll get back in. But anyway, thank you anyway, Dennis. And Jerry, you always sound good in my neighborhood.
Yeah, everybody sounds good in the old Tube Radio Network neighborhood. Thanks for stopping into the radio room and have fun on movie night. We, as I've said many times, I always appreciate Saturday night evenings are busy for people. A lot of them stop what they're doing, family and friends. They excuse themselves to say, just a moment, I'll be right back. They run into the radio room and they take time to share their radios with us. They've been doing this for 34 years here on the old Tube Radio Network, and we really do appreciate that. It's always nice to hear what we have to offer, and I think that's why Chris picked the Super MC11A. If you're gonna run one, if you may only run one radio out of your collection, it's okay to show off. We are standing by and listening for radio number 4.
And by the way, looking at the other meter here, you're keying down here about over, swinging up to about 30 over, so you're getting out.
I'm getting out. All right, well, that's good. Back to the video. Checking my lighting. Seems bright. Seems brighter here. Sometimes it's a lot darker in the radio studio tonight, so I don't know how things are adjusted, but that's okay. If something has to be bright in this room, if it can't be me, then it will be the lighting. Checking up if there's any comments. Nothing from there. Nothing from there. Also listening in still at the big page, Maryland, Virginia, South Carolina. Hello to the various stations in Central and Southern California. We don't get a lot of stations in Northern California. We're in Central California here in Fresno. A lot of times don't get a lot of Northern California stations. Hello to Hendersonville's Tennessee, still in there, nestled in the center row. Woodland Park, Colorado, waiting for the bands to open up. Also a couple of stations in Washington, waiting for the bands to open up like they did last week. Hello to the Australian station. Portland, Oregon, waiting for the band to open up like it did last week. Hello to Maryland. I don't think we ever have conditions your way. I know we did do an Echo Link up that way talking to Larry, so we'll have to schedule to get the Echo Link up and running again in the next couple of weeks. And our British Columbia station, still waiting for some conditions to come in as well here on the old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for listening, and we're waiting for your Tube Radio check-ins.
45.
And there is one right now. Hello, Paul, if you can still hear me, over. Hello, 45, over.
Yeah, I'm having some major interference here for some stupid reason. I don't know why. Well, I was working right with a euphonic microphone on that. I found that information on this radio that I'm checking in right now. I'm checking in Pierce Simpson Companion.
And it's a Pierce Simpson kind of evening. The Companion, there was a little bit of oscillation feedback, and that could be if you're running the amplified microphonium, maybe it's set too high. It doesn't sound like it is, but we'll keep an ear out. I've got 2 pictures from the Companion. One is your collection, and one is courtesy of Reggie Holsey. Let me pop in Reggie's radio while I'm talking here, and then we'll switch over to you. Both pictures are really nice. Another neat-looking radio. Again, I really like the designers at Simpson. See if I can get it centered in. And there we go, the Companion. Back to you for transmission, over.
Okay, we try again. That thing had a real screech to it. I can't hardly hear anything right now. It was screeching real loud. I don't know what it was, so I'll give it just a little gentle rap on the top of the radio and it seemed to stop it. So whatever's happening, I don't know. Hey, we'll find out. Anyway, this thing, it's got a purple knobs on the thing, and the whole radio is kind of purple. The rest of the background is gray. So it's a strange-looking radio. But it's a good talking radio. That's the main thing. Back to you.
It is a good talking radio. Give you a signal report coming up. Looks like we have, I'm trying to see how many channels. Looks like you've got a tunable receive. I like the waffle iron speaker grill. PS, it says, for Pierce Simpson. Looking at the picture, looks like the microphonium is hardwired. There's a coiled cord. This is interesting. The Reggie's photo shows a coiled cord microphonium that may or may not be the original one. My guess is the original wouldn't have been coiled like that. I'm going to switch over to your photo. There it is. And yours is showing a non-coiled cord. We don't see the microphone itself. And you can talk about the microphone you're using when we take the next transmission. In fact, let's do that now. Over.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the microphone that's euphonic. It's carbon. And it's hardwired in the front of the radio. I'm sure that's completely stopped in it. It looks stopped and everything like that. The color of the microphone matches the front of the radio, and it's got the name right on the microphone too, of Pierce Simpson. So it's solid. Anyway, other than that, it's really a nice radio. I mean, other than it's pretty plain in the front. You don't have any meters or lights or anything on the thing. But it does have more channels than the rest of them, so they improved it. This came out in 1962, so that was following the last radio I checked in was their Indian port on transmission permit. Anyway, back to you.
Back to me in the studio, showing that it shows up in Sam's PhotoFax CB4, so that makes sense. That was one of the earlier issues. Signal strength is very similar to the CDB5. I think you're just a little bit stronger on this radio. Maybe 3 dB all the way around from unmodulated carrier to modulated carrier, but it sounds nice. And I'm thinking the radio we showed before, I wonder if they came out with 2 different microphones. It also had the matching, the coiled cord was matching the front of the radio. Maybe they had a coiled and non-coiled for that. Talking to Paul on his Radio 4, which is the Pierce Simpson CDB 5. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, not the CDB 5. That's what you checked in first. The Pierce Simpson Companion. The 5 obviously was for the 5 channel. This is the Companion, giving you all 23 channels. Crystal. Oh, you know what I see in the front? And maybe you mentioned that. It appears that there is a crystal socket. Yeah, I see the EXT. And that looks like it takes one of the big, and I don't know the numbers. It was at a something 243. It takes one of the really big crystals you plug right in the front there. Over.
Yeah, like you said before on this thing, it's a lot like the one earlier that I checked in, the earlier one. It's following up the same year that they were still manufacturing both of them at that time, I guess. So they interchanged a lot of stuff in the thing. I hope I got everything worked out what you were talking about. Back to you.
Yeah, it's good. Audio's good, and I think you said you did the old tube radio shuffle on the top of the set there to make it sound okay. Stop squealing. I know I had to do that with my Johnson Viking, or my Whiteface, because it has a loose, I think the receive crystal loosens up in the socket, especially if somebody loud comes in, it vibrates the crystal just enough that it it goes whack, and a little rap on the top. A gentle persuasion on the top of the radio also helps. So I think you did that. I'm going to switch over quickly to the S meter. Back for your final transmission. You'll be able to give yourself a signal report if you're watching the video. Back to you on Radio 4, the Pierce Simpson Companion.
Okay, I'm curious to know how this thing is. It's showing that it's perfect on everything as far as the microphone and all of that. So hopefully, did I say I'm loud enough?
Yeah, good. I was doing the S meter, and let's give me another transmission. We'll check the crystal as well. Another short transmission. I'll check it out.
Yeah, okay. That's what. There's something weird going on with this thing, so hopefully enough time back for you.
Yeah, enough time. Those who heard me switch over could hear your carrier as the crystal, as it warms up on your transmit, drops about 20 cycles or so. You're at 84.8, so about 200 cycles low. Crystal's still well within tolerance. That's the kind of radio you want to keep during skip, because it'll have a footprint. You'll hear the heterodyne behind you, and you'll hear the crystal kind of settle in on its frequency. But we don't. It's quiet now, so we don't hear the change in frequency. On your Pierce Simpson Companion, this one might have a bit of an edge over the CDB5 for signal strength, but they both sound great. Thanks for bringing them by tonight. Over.
You're sure welcome on that. This is really a strange-looking radio, so glad you took it in. I enjoy it. And thank you for putting it on there, Dan.
All right, I really like it. Reminds me of the Pierce Simpson radio. Remind me of the tabletop broadcast mid-century style cabinets, late 50s and early 60s, especially that one. And I wonder, I'll have to check. I wonder if Pierce Simpson, I don't think they did. I don't think they made any AM broadcast tabletop radios, but maybe they did. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, real radios glowing in the dark, the Citizen Band radios from 1958 to 1978. My name is Dennis. We are here in Central California on Channel 11, 27085, and everywhere else that you might be listening or watching on Google, YouTube, or at oldtuberadio.net for the live stream when we are actually here on the air. A copyrighted feature of the Old Tube Radio Network is our jingle singers over in the other studio that telling you exactly what happens here on a Saturday evening.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
Looking for Radio 5, and hello to Captain Keyboard. I believe that's Robert in Nevada listening in. No skip conditions tonight, but you just never know. Radio 5, hello. And John Lee, you made me go look up a word as you talked about how sometimes we have to coerce our tube radios into working. You called it Brogan, B-R-O-G-A-N, maintenance. The coarse, stout leather shoe reaching to the ankle. So, yeah, sometimes you do have to pull off your shoe and whack the radio. That's a good way to do it. All right, I always love it when I learn something on OTR. We're looking for radio number 5. Static. I'm going to adjust the RF gain here to bring the static noise down for the listeners. I think that'll be okay for any far out stations. I wonder how things are going on field day tonight. Maybe I won't stay in too late tonight, but maybe after the check-ins tonight for the SWLs watching and listening, we'll jump around for a few minutes on the ham bands and see if we can copy anything on the field day stations. Let me adjust the microphonium here. The Heil PR40. I'm getting a boom shadow. That's bad. Doing that is bad for the video portion. That should be better. Looking for Radio 5. And while we have a chance here where things are quiet, what was I going to do? I was going to switch over to the Orban meter, see what our level is actually making it on the Orban meter tonight. Hello to Brian KUH. I hope all is better. I say all is well. Let's say all is better in the Radio Shack tonight. I don't know if you're able or capable of doing any field day items. I haven't been on yet. I got to find out my official designator. Now, maybe I'll fire up the Starduster and do some field day tomorrow. 10 meters was open this morning. And here are the guys on 20 and 40. And so hope all is well. Mr. KUH. Also from Northeast Georgia. Not North Georgia, not East Georgia, but Northeast Georgia. Mr. Butterbean is waving a hand to all the old tube radio operators and shortwave listeners alike. Hello, radio. We are looking for radio number 5. And breaking the silence with what appears to be one of those glow-in-the-dark radios. Hello, Paul, over.
Yeah, this one should be familiar to you. It's the one I checked in last week with that Howley microphone. Does it sound any better?
I think it sounds good. The audio is nice. I'm trying to remember last week what was the possible. You know what? The possible issue was a little bit of, I'll call it high frequency ringing, but I don't think I hear that now. Over.
Good. Yeah, it's a Turner Plus 3, one of the old reliable microphones. It's one of my favorites, as you know. I got another one I'd like to check also, too, if we have the time. It'll only be just a minute. I hope it's interesting to some people. It is to me. Back to you.
Yeah, it's the old Tube Radio Network is always interesting. Yeah, that other microphone was accentuating some high mid-range frequency that wasn't the best for your voice. This sounds actually kind of nice. Actually, it sounds very nice at 9:27. I guess 4:27 Universal Coordinated Time. Which Browning is that? Is that the Mark II? Okay, yeah, change the mic. I will be listening. I can't remember if that was the Mark II or not. Yeah, take a transmission. It sounds like it's maybe louder, but sometimes louder isn't a good thing. Take a transmission over.
Okay. It's a stock microphone, the Browning microphone, with this Heil cartridge. At the time I could buy those kits, you could put a Heil cartridge in the thing. That's what I'm running right now.
That sounds good. That is louder. I'm not sure you probably only have one way to do the cartridge placement in the microphone. Almost sounds like the placement is off a little bit, because that one is getting back to that, what I'll call high frequency accentuation, but not as bad as it was last week. I think I prefer the previous microphone that you were on, but anyone that's listening that has a comment on preference or information, feel free to break in here, because that's what we do, is get information and comments. The other question I have on your next transmission is, I can't remember the radio. Is that the Browning Mark II? Over.
That's correct, Mark II.
All right, the Mark II Series B. And I take it there's no, if that's the Browning microphone with the cartridge, there's no way to adjust the audio. It's almost like it has a little bit too much gain. Doesn't sound distorted, but I think for mellowness and pleasantness, the other microphone has this one beat. For loudness, perhaps, if you're doing DX work, you might want to use this microphone. It could be a bit punchier, but I think the other one is a good standard, what do they call it, rag chew microphone. Over.
Hey, it's Doug. Can I get a mic check? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Over.
Am I coming in pretty clear? Over.
Yeah, you're 9 pounds, good modulation, Chestnut and Herndon, and your audio is okay in Midtown Fresno.
Sweet, I'm on Shaw and Cedar right now.
Hey, you're not too far away from me, mobile. This is the Old Tube Radio Network. My name is Dennis. We're talking to Paul. I don't know if we can hear it. I'm going to send it back up to the mobile station there. I'm going to send it back up to Paul, who is up in Northport, to take a transmission, see if he's hearing you in the mobile, but he's doing some microphone work. Hello, Paul, can you hear me? Over.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I heard him back there. I can hear him up there just fine. Browning's got a good receive on it, I'll tell you. Super receive on the thing. Well, that's good, Dennis. I appreciate it. I won't take any more of the time up, and I will definitely stick with it shorter. Of course, that's amplified, and I got a cut where it's just barely rocking 100%. Try to keep it just below that if I can, I'll think. No more. So that's one thing about a power mic. You can abuse them, and they sound like, you know what? Well, you can run them normal, and they sound good. Thanks to you, and thanks for checking it in.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. There is just a slight ringing on some of your voice peaks. So if there's a way to bring it down 5 or 10%, you might try that and probably get rid of the ringing and not get rid of your extra volume. But I think and I'm listening on headphones. So somebody listening on a speaker might not hear as much difference. But on the headphones, when you are right in my head as it is, I think I prefer the other microphone, and that's just to keep my sanity, right? Because the Brownings are always loud. The Browning Mark II series be sounding good, and we're checking it in as Radio 5. One of our services can we say that here at the Old Tube Radio Network is giving radio checks and allowing you to change microphones or whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, it's recorded, it's archived. You can go back and listen and see what you did. The jingle singers at the bottom of the hour are tapping on the glass, wanting to tell you about the magic that is Old Tube Radio, our mobile station that was at Cedar and Shaw, or in that area. You're sounding good, and the station up in North Fork was actually hearing you quite nicely.
Yeah, David, I can actually hear you pretty good. I'm having trouble with hearing Paul, but I'm mobile right now. I'm on a Cobra 29, so not in special.
Yeah, doing a good job for mobile. It's the channel, the frequency is quiet tonight, and this is the Old Tube Radio Network. We do this every Saturday evening at 8 to 10 p.m. where we listen for the classic tube radios. Also, we're on a live stream, and we are recording this audio, so if you go to oldtuberadio.net, sometime in the near future, I'll have the audio up streaming, and if you go to the archive page and you look for, let's see, this will be under Tube Radio Check-ins, and you scroll in about an hour, about 15 minutes into the feed, you will hear your audio. You will hear your transmission as it sounded through the speaker here. And that's at oldtuberadio.net. We're going to the jingle singers. Let me do that now, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
We're awaiting listening for radio number 6. And let's see, John Lee says the +3 is a lot more pleasing if you're listening, Paul. I think that's what I noticed as well. Another vote for the +3 on a Browning. Who would have thunk? I don't hear many +3s on the Browning, so maybe they, unlike the D104, they don't quite accentuate the high frequencies, that they add a little bit of add a bit of low frequency, which basically in a Browning is rolled off. Brownings are running the audio board through the Browning, and it says anything under 200 hertz, I am not going to pass. Of course, I'm not feeding it direct, but that's if you go through the audio system. Let me say hello and check in. Let me double check. Yeah, from beaconing from Brentwood via the space shuttle. I don't know how he does it. X4000 checking in to the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. I think Brian, I think X4000 is a fan of the Pierce Simpson radio. He's a fan of all things that glow in the dark. So bring it over, and we'll check it in. Looking for Radio 6.
Hi, guys. I'm going to be checking out. This is Michael. It's nice talking to you guys.
Hey, Michael, thanks for tuning in. If you are, we'll be on for another half hour, so if you're via Universal Media Netweb device, give us a listen at oldtuberadio.net for the audio stream. And we're on Google, YouTube for the video stream. Thanks for letting us ride along with you tonight. And we do this every Saturday, so welcome to key up anytime. OTR standing by, listening for Radio 6.
Sounds good. You guys have a good night.
Looks like we dropped a degree. It's only 80 degrees in here now. You're tuned to the Old Tube Radio Network. We're listening for radio number 6. Happens when you have these really nice summer days here. That it is summer now, right? We're officially summer. I think we've passed through the solstice. The days are getting shorter, although you don't notice yet. Get these 90-degree days here in the Central Valley, and everybody is out and about, not hiding from the heat. And so when it gets late on Saturday, you've had a busy day, and it's time to relax. See if we can't get another radio or two before we check out of here this evening, but we are looking for radio number 6. And that must be one nasty storm up there in Iowa, taking a power hit over there. But John is back up. I think I've got the shack here set up. I'm trying to think. If I took a power hit, I would probably have to go to I'm not sure if I'd be able to do everything. I'd be able to do the on-air portion, but I would have to do it with a standard microphonium, but I'm not sure. I've got the computer up here. I just don't know if we took a power hit if the whole bundle would stay on, and probably not for long. I don't have a giant UPS. It would be nasty. I would have to reboot everything and turn everything back on. So keeping my fingers crossed we don't have the power hit here. OTR standing by. Not sure if we'll make double-digit radios tonight, but thanks for everyone listening in. Also, Albert listening in from Squamish, British Columbia. Let's. I always like to learn about where people are listening from. Squamish in the Canadian province of British Columbia, located at the north end of Howe Sound on the Sea to Sky Highway. Sounds like a nice place to visit. Population just under 20,000. This town of Squamish had its beginning during the construction of the Pacific Great Eastern Railway in the 1910s. It was the first southern terminus of that railway. The town remains important in the operations of the line and also the port. So, welcome. Welcome, Squamishians, to the Old Tube Radio Network. OTR listening for Radio 6. See if we can round up the jingle singers here. Sometimes they will generate some check-ins for us. This is the Old Tube Radio Network.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Hearing nothing on the 2-meter side.
Yeah, everybody's conked out from field day.
By the way, your audio of the Jingle Singers is it's a bit low. It sounds like only about 40%.
Is that on the transmitter? Because I've got separate feeds. Is that in the transmitter or on the stream?
On your transmitter.
All right. Well, that very well could be. I'll have to monitor the wiggle meters. I think we're gonna get one more blast out of them. Those watching the video, there's a shot of downtown Squamish. My video screen doesn't like it that much. But that is Downtown Squamish Business Association providing that picture. I'm not sure what that is in the background. What great mountain peak that is. And if it's something that you'd want to be climbing. So thank you for the audio report. Now what I have to do is figure out which control gives me the Jingle Singer audio into the transmitter. And I'll blame it on Bozo Control.
That's Squamish, Canada?
BC.
It could be, let's see, there's one of the 3 mountains nearby there.
We have Albert is listening in tonight from Squamish on the audio stream.
Oh, yes, here. Gary Baldy.
Is that like 2 names or 1 name?
1 name.
Okay. Well, Garibaldi. Looks like it might be a nice place to visit. If you have your snowshoes.
Off to the east and south is Mamquam Mountain. And not to be outdone is Mount Tantalus.
And we typically here in Central California have a fairly decent shot on 10 and 11 meters to British Columbia. Like I mentioned earlier, here there's a beacon, a VE7TY, I think, that usually, when the band is the west side of the band is open, I'll usually hear that beaconing station. I have a feeling I'm not going to be hearing any beacons tonight. Garibadi, Garibadi. You got to be a local to pronounce that right, I think.
And don't forget the town of Skookumchuck.
Skookum. The Christmas trees, where are they? Usually up on Shaw Avenue. They come from Skookum. Is that? I wonder if that's the same place. I hear a station way out there. This is the Old Tube Radio Network listening. Getting ready to do some counting and mounting, and still plenty of time to get your tube radio checked in if it's warming up. Sounds like the band wants to open up. I wonder if that's Hawaiian Gray Line.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, please proceed over.
Well, how about a robin for your listening pleasure?
My listening pleasure could indeed be enhanced by a robin, or any old tube radio for that matter, but I like the robin. Tell me about your robin over.
Well, this is the one I like to use when it's rather late and I'm just exhausted from cleaning the gosh darn kitchen, because I don't have to speak that loudly into the microphone. You want to say hello? Say hello. Nope, she's not going to say hello. It's my Robin T123. No Bravo after that one. This is the one at the Magic Eye. And the powered astatic mic. I like this. The amp rock. It seems like I'm putting something out because the Magic Eye tube is almost, whenever I speak, entirely illuminated vertical bar.
It has plenty of audio. So you should be making the Magic Eye tube work overtime. We have procured a shot of the Robin T123, I believe, right there. And you are Radio 6. I've been fishing for Radio 6 for quite some time, so welcome at 9:58 on your Robin radio. Take another transmission.
Oh my God. It's just 6? Is that correct?
It's one of those days where it didn't get 105, so I think a lot of people were out doing things, and then when they came inside, probably just crashed. Or it's nice enough to be still outside doing things. So that's okay. It is what it is, and we like the fact that you have jumped in with the Robin T123 pre-1972, I think, for Robin. 11 tubes and 2 transistors, which is probably for the DC conversion. And you said the amplified microphone. Are you running the, what is it, the MT1? Is that what you've got?
I kind of want to make a joke about MT or MT. No, it's and I always get, I hesitate in saying this. No, it's an astatic D104.
Oh, but it's got the amplified bass?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, I misspoke. I'm looking at the picture. In the picture is the MT, the Mike Tango 1, and this is Cliff's radio. And he makes the same little analogy about empty, the empty one. That is a great choice for your voice and that radio and the setting you have it at. It's the don't touch a thing mode.
Oh, good. Well, I'm ashamed to admit the reason why this was not connected to coax earlier this evening was I actually took it on just a spectacular 5-day camping trip and had every intention on trying to get it hooked up in the mountains, but I'm embarrassed to say I never got around to doing it. But well, it's back up and running in the radio lounge. It's a great radio to use if you're on the road. I've never really fiddled around to make sure that the antennas that I have for it are. Boy, this cat. My God, this cat is just enchanted by this Magic Eye tube. I'm sorry. I've never really fooled around to make sure the mobile antennas that I have for it are matched to it. But it is a fun radio to use on the road. If you wish to do that, just make sure you got the right power cord.
The fresh air did it some good. I want to say I don't recall it sounding so boisterous in previous episodes of the Old Tube Radio Network. It's really nice, dialed in for your voice. So maybe it needed to be jostled around a bit in the mobile, regardless of whether it made an appearance or not. I think it did it. It did it well.
Good. Well, can I ask? And again, I know it's getting kind of late. When was the last time we had a mobile tube radio check-in?
It has been a while. The big mobile station, Eric, SWL-17 was one that did a lot of mobile check-ins from his Jeep. I think Ed may have done a mobile check-in. Cliff has done mobile check-ins, and yourself. And when we say mobile check-in, these are tube radio check-ins. We get mobile check-ins, of course, during the shortwave listeners. But it has been a while, and this is mobile check-in time during the late spring, summer, early autumn months. So I'm anticipating that we may have one or two coming up.
Okay. Well, I'd always used to attempt to check this in on the web to Kings Canyon and basically the Sequoia National Park at a place up on 180. It was McGee Lookout. But unfortunately, that McGee Lookout really has a good field of vision now that most of the trees, well, actually all of the trees at that point, are burned to toothpicks due to wildfires. But I did drive by there and thought, well, it'd be nice to park here for a little bit. But yeah, it's just not going to happen. Just pretty sad what's been going on there. But life is returning. So we'll see what happens. I think I painted myself into a corner there as far as describing that location there. But I promise I will get this thing on the radio soon. It's a fun, easy, one-piece little radio to do some mobile tube check-ins with.
We were looking. I'll put it back up on the video. Yeah, there are a couple of really nice. They're wide and long turnouts where you could get off to the side of the road and not block anybody else who wants to pull over up there on 180. I never knew it had a name. And between the drought and the beetles wrecking the trees in the Sierra, and as you said, the fire, I was up at Meadow Lakes yesterday. That's 4,500 feet the other direction, north, sort of south, north, and east. And they have, the PG&E or whoever's doing the trees have eliminated quite a few, and the skyline is a lot different. It's just like, whoa, there's a lot of sun on the road because a lot of the trees have been cut down because they were all dead. So I know what you're talking about. Maybe that'll give you more room for your signal. We're talking with Mike, radio number 6. Checking in just before the 10 o'clock hour, now 10:06. Before we sign out here, getting another radio. He's on the Robin T123, their earlier model. I'm not sure if it was a Panasonic or a Japanese chassis or not, but it does have they're only one that had the magic eye. And he's got it dialed in, if you're listening and liking the audio, he's got it dialed in with a D104 microphonium, and it's sounding good. We'll go back to you for transmission. We're counting and amounting here. And if anybody else wants to get in before we sign out to be Radio 7, we'll take you in. So over to you, sir. But we're looking forward to the upcoming and possible mobile radio check-in.
Well, thank you. Okay, so I feel bad that there have been, so relatively speaking, so few tube radio check-ins. I'm certainly grateful that this one I'm speaking on right now has the instant on feature. This is another one, albeit less than 10 for this evening, I guess, for the grand total. This is my Robin T123B. Yes, I've got to practically scream into this thing to get the modulation lamp to work, but I thought I'd add another one to the count this evening.
And it has been added to the count. SWL 47 with Radio 7, the Robin T123B. Audio quality and fidelity is good. It is not the modulation percentage of the other one, but it's not bad. Listening to the headphoniums here, the other one, you were right in front of me. This one as well, but like you said, you're having to increase the voice to help it out, and that's okay. And then I think that has, I'm looking at the picture, it doesn't have the cool magic eye, but it has the MOD red light. So if you are making that blink just a bit, you are doing okay.
Oh, good. Yeah, man, I swear I got to get Harvey to help me out with some sort of an amplified mic for this. Yeah, you got to scream. I'm talking real loud. I mean, I would imagine this is what some of the folks, like on an old B-17, would have to do with their throat microphones they had attached on there. But it's still a great radio to use. As I said, I appreciate the instant on feature. And out of all the radios in my collection, which is pathetically small, I got to say this one is the best looking one. I'm not sure if I want to call it museum quality, but it certainly looks relatively new to my eye.
I talked to Bozo Control, and he said it was museum quality because when he came over to look at it, he said he did have to pay admission. So I'm assuming he went into the museum to see it. The photo we're showing, which is not your radio per se, is also another museum quality piece from Cliff's collection. So it's nice that we have that for Radio 7. I want to say hello to Tim up in the Pacific Northwest. We have no conditions this week. We had great conditions last week. And Tim is probably involved in field day of some sort, whether he's out in the field or maybe giving people contacts. But wishing everybody a happy CQFD, doing a field day of our own here at the Old Tube Radio Network. That would have been, I guess it would have been apropos for you to do a check-in, even if it was from poolside, as it is a field day today and this weekend. All right, sir, I'm going to go back to you for transmission. The Jingle Singers would like to do what they do best, and I think we're going to be counting and amounting as we come to the very close to the conclusion of this week's Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for your check-ins. And I'm wondering if I'm going to need to write in a Radio 8. Anyway, Radio 6, the Robin T123, and Radio 7, the T123B. Over to you.
Oh, all right. Looks like we got someone else there. I can only imagine who that is. Do you have just meters up right now? Crossband capabilities?
The crossband capability I have is an HT that is not wired in for sound, and the antenna is internal. So the type of crossband capabilities we need are not available at the moment. Over.
Okay. I got just a stupid, small, little, simple question after the show's over. So thank you. And on that, I'll send it back to you. I can't wait to see who's in line here.
All right, we've got one more radio. I think before I sign off totally, and it won't be for the on-air, but it'll be for the streaming people, where we're going to check out Field Day through the receiver on the Pissweek and Yellowy Starduster antenna, see what we can hear, see if 20 is open, which it probably isn't, maybe go down to 75 and 40. See if anybody's doing the Field Day thing. So I was going to leave the stream up for that for a couple of minutes. But maybe I can get your question answered. Hello to, who else? Santa Ana, California, tuning in, and also the Google bots at Mountain View. I guess I'm running overtime here, and they want to make sure we're doing it okay. So just let Mountain View know that we are checking in radios the way we should. Thanks, Mike. And let's go over to, I believe it is SWL20 who has Radio 8. Over.
Yeah, number 20. The Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68 with the custom D104 from Browning Lavatories. And you're the Greasy Fried Donuts, right?
You are correct.
Well, I refer to you as the good friend Dennis.
Well, that is what I originally with Good for Dennis or something like that. That's what I came up with. And then when Pat YEP got a hold of it, it turned into Greasy Fried Donuts. So whatever, as long as I get a call, when I go CQ Field Day, if someone wants to acknowledge my call, whether it's phonetically correct or not, I'll take it.
Okay. All right. Well, since it's a little late, I'll make it quick. Oh, by the way, that VS12 that had that funny audio, I'm going to check it in again next week. Excuse me. I'm painting it right now. Should be dry fairly soon, and I'm going to put some clear coat on it, see how well that works. But I noticed the element in the microphone is the telephone, old-style telephone element. Well, I took it out, and I just simply put in a nice D104 type element, not in the mic, but I hooked it up real close, wired it up to a very, very good D104 element, and it did not work at all. Not at all. So then I found a couple other of those telephone elements that I use in the Sonar hand microphones, and I put another one in, and according to the meter, it's doing a lot better, more forward swing, and it might be a little more clear. So next week we'll check that out, and you can let me know.
All right, look forward to that. Who was it? I think it was Richard Cucumber mentioned that on some of the General Radio telephones that had the carbon microphone, you could just actually use on some telephones pull the element, unscrew the telephone, the old carbon telephone mic, and wire it in there, and it would work fine. And apologies to our SWLs. I'm noticing I'm getting some pulsating static, like engine noise static, on the incoming signals. It isn't, my radio is not filtering it out. I don't know what that's coming from. I normally don't get that. So if you're listening into the archive and you hear that noise, that is not being transmitted. I'm sure it's something on my receiver, and I don't know if someone's running a motor or something. I'll have to check that out. Maybe they're doing something over in the studio because they they want to get out of there. Yeah, we'd be interested to hear that next week. That is, we like the peeking and tweaking and testing part of OTR, as well as the checking in and saying hello to the SWL part. You are Radio 8 with your Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. By the way, the Harvey range boost is working nicely. You are hitting a -14 on the Orban modulation meter, which means you are super loud but super good.
Okay. Well, thank you. Now, my VS12 looks like, now I don't have a schematic for it, but the power cord that came didn't come with it for AC. I had a DC cord, but I had a VS67 that had a AC power cord, and on the General Radio telephone stock AC power cords, they put a sticker that goes all the way around, and on it says 110 or 120 volt AC for models, and it says all the VS series and the oh gosh, I can't think of all that it says. Oh wait, here's another one. Okay, here's one. Okay, it says 115 volt AC, all VS model, BB10, 11, and SB72. So I checked my radio out versus my VS7, and the VS12 and the VS67 internally, the power plugs wired identical. So I threw the AC cord on, and that's what you were listening to. But the VS67 is the only one that's in Sam's PhotoFact as far as the BF series. So I checked it out, and internally it is almost identical to the VS12, with the exception of a couple of lights and I think a switch here and there. But basically it's the same. And I looked, and the VS67 says ceramic for the microphone, yet it has a little transformer coming directly off the mic plug, and basically there's some voltage going to the transformer, and then the secondary is right into the 6AQ5 mic amp. I think it's a 6AQ5, whatever the mic amp is. So I looked at that and I went, I happen to have Paul's VS12 down here, and his is different. His has the plate modulated ECLL 800 in there with a 12 AX7 mic amp tube, and it takes a crystal type cartridge in the microphone. I looked at that and I went, that's identical to the MC11A. Mine has no, quote, mic preamp tube. It just has a 6GW8 audio amp tube in place of the ECLL 800. Weird. It's like they made a change. Although mine has the chassis punched for the tube socket for the 12AX7, yet it doesn't use it. So it looks like mine was the early model, and they were getting ready to upgrade, and they just didn't upgrade mine, but they did upgrade Paul's. Interesting. Anyway, I'll try it next week, see what you say.
It'd be interesting to hear it. I wonder what the preferred configuration would be. And we were talking earlier about General Radio Telephone and all the updates they did on the kitchen, on the technical kitchen table, trying to make things peak and tweak and better. You're in competition with the Tram and Browning and trying to keep up, but they did well. Obviously, just from the audio that we hear, especially in those models with the ECLL 800s and the 12AX7, it's just, you don't need, they really built them so you didn't need to have all sorts of external power audio. It was good to go with the way it came out of the box. All right, next week we should be here. We will be here, and looking forward to whatever you have to send our way.
Okay, you betcha. Oh, by the way, Paul has a BB30, General BB30. I have a General BB. His has a different audio section for transmit than mine does. He can put just about any microphone on his, but I can't on mine. Nothing worked on mine except an amplified D104 or an amplified A +2 desk mic. But a dynamic amplified mic will not work on it. How about that? I'm going to try a carbon hand mic on the BB30 possibly next week and see if it's the same situation. Okay, catch you next week.
What do they used to say in the butter commercial? It's not nice to fool with Mother Nature, and maybe it's the same when it comes to general radio telephones and microphoniums. If you start doing something too weird things might happen. All right, let me give a... no, we're going to do this. Jingle singers are tapping on the glass. Let's do this first.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
And then give a call out for any final check-ins. And that was my opportunity to turn around. Well, I'll do it when we do this. The Old Tube Radio Network, Mr. Announcer, is ready to go. I wanted to check my audio out of the transmitter.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current
Not too bad.
OTR totals.
checking the audio meter. There's not too bad. I won't change it lest they get distorted. The final and current totals at 10:23. Wow, where did the time go? On the Old Tube Radio Network. 8 radios checking in tonight. I'll refresh the comment page. So we need to make any comments to anybody. And on the radio, on the SWL check-ins, 9 on page 1, 13 on page 2, 13 on page 3. On page 3. It's getting late. And 16 on page 4 for a total of 22 and 29, making 51. Shortwave listeners tonight, check it. We didn't add anybody new. We are in week 3. So next week we'll be halfway through the 8-week roster, and 8 radios with a tie for the most heard manufacturer between, a 3-way tie between the Pierce Simpsons, the Brownings, and the Robins. Almost every radio that checked in was in the tie, except for what was the lone one was the Sonar. Started off with the Pierce Simpson CDB 5 from Paul. Early 1960s radio, sounding good. Pierce Simpson, if you're a fan. If you like the styling like I do, the Sonar Model G from Jerry was our kind of outstanding single radio. Sonar's always sounding good. Thanks for that for Radio 2. Radio 3, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. I guess that's the other standout, too. We talked about a lot of Generals, but we only heard one tonight, the Super MC11A. It's sort of mobile cousin, the VS12, which if you're at oldtuberadio.net, you're seeing the picture of it right now. We'll be talking about and talking with that one next week. Radio 4, Paul and the Pierce Simpson Companion. Sort of the step up, I think, from the CDB5, also sounding good. Paul was Radio 5 on the Browning Mark II Series B, just checking out the different microphoniums, and I think the consensus was that for a Rag Chew microphone, the Plus 3 was sounding better, or more preferable, or nicer, although they both made audio, so there's no problem there, but the preference was the Plus 3 sounding nice for that combination. Radio number 6, the Robin T123 from Mike, also followed by the T123B. Radio 6 and 7, and as you just heard, Radio 8, the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. Here on the Old Tube Radio Network, thanks to all of you staying up late tonight into, depending on your time zone, into the wee hours of Sunday morning. Maybe you are kind of jumping in here from field day, where it may or may not be busy. For the stream, before I turn down the stream, we'll jump over. I'll use the Stardust, and we'll jump over to local frequencies here and see what's happening on field day. I'll keep the stream up. Also, thanks to searchandalerts.com and Fodex for keeping the Nixie tubes up, and thanks to all of you for keeping us going in the last 34 years with your SWL check-ins and tube radio check-ins. 73, everybody. I think I got everything covered here, and let me see if I think there was a question or something that was going to happen here before I signed out, so I'm standing by. The break OTR, go ahead, over. And who was that again, over? All right, I have that weird staticky thing. Did anyone else copy the station? I hear the audio, but I'm not getting the number.
I think it's 48.
Okay, I heard a 4. 48, and I'm looking at the list right now, would be Sam. Hello. All right, getting in in the nick of time. We're still on. The tube is lit. And Mr. KP, we will get you check in. Thanks for remembering the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. That takes our SWL total up to 52. Oh, Mike, did you have a question for me? Over. Or generically over.
Yeah. Do you ever operate CW?
I have not. I listen a lot. I have not operated, and can you see it from the... Let's see, if you're watching the video... Let me move all the junk out of the way. Right there. Can I shine a light on it? Right there. Let's see if this light works. There it is. Is the J... I Can't see what I'm doing. All right, it's a J38 key. That is my CW key. Can you hear it? That is my code key that I have had forever. Even before I was licensed ham operator. Oh, God, this is a whole story. I don't even want to get into this. That's mounted on a board that has a switch. I made this switch that would switch between... What was my first radio? Probably on the Yaesu 101. It would switch between push to talk, which I used it for, and then to the key jack, which I used it for. This also I used it for on my DX60B. So that's my J38 key that I used for CW in my novice days, back when that's what you had to do. I have probably not had a CW contact for a long, long time using the J38 key. So did I answer your question? Yes, but not in a long time over.
And if you were to go, I think, was it Wednesday night, there's like a CW net perhaps. If you were to go on there, could you communicate? Are you that good on CW?
Yeah, I think they go slow enough, and I'm not sure their format is, but it's probably just... No, I have what I would have to do first. It's always good, whether you're CW, I would listen first and trying to find out the format, how you check in. If it's just you give your call or you do CQ, and then kind of get my ear trained, because that's when I'm doing CW, I don't do it enough. So I kind of have to train your ear for 5 minutes to listen in. And I don't even think this is connected. This is not connected to the HF radio. So I could probably give it a try. I've thought about it. I just don't have it hooked up, and I'm sure all I would do is give a call, and I'm sure that you want to make sure you're not transmitting too fast, more than your sending speed and receive speed. And I would probably have the jitters like my first CW contact on the DX60B, where you sort of forget your call and you forget your name because it's like, the call comes in da 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 da, and it's like he's talking to me. That's my call, and then you freeze. I still remember my first CW contact. It's like, holy cow! I've been listening to CW for months and months and months, and it's stuttering. It's like stuttering. So yeah, I could probably do it. I wouldn't be very fast. I don't know. I think my fist would be okay. I would just have to listen a little bit, and then it's like you're in the pool. Do you walk in, or do you go in the deep end and just dive in and hope that you float back to the top? Over.
Okay. Well, I'm not good enough to even realize or not if you just when you were vocalizing it, if you were indeed sending your call sign, but that was pretty fast, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I would not send that fast. You get your call memorized. It'd be da 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 da. I would have to see how fast I was going. Da 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 da, and the all straight key. So yeah, it would be boring to someone who is good at CW, but I'm sure on the net they're kind of used to that. So, and I don't know if they're using computers to figure me out. I think my fist would be good enough to show up okay on somebody's computer.
Okay, that last whatever little vocalization that you sent out, that was what I would consider, and I know nothing about it, but that's kind of a more insane speed. Yeah, I can send my own call sign out pretty gosh darn fast, and one other call sign as well. And unfortunately, that's about it. Besides a K, and what is the other thing I'm working on? K and M. There's a great app I've downloaded. So if you want to talk about K's and M's, I think I'm pretty good at that.
K's and M's. Back in high school, I taught myself code. There was two ways. I had the Radio Shack code record, and you increase the speed by going 33 RPM, 45 RPM, and I had a record player that would do 78 RPM. And I basically memorized the thing. And they gave it in 5 little 5-letter words. And I had that thing down at 78, but the thing was you memorized it. Then I used to send code to myself. I had a little 3-inch reel-to-reel recorder, and you just randomly type something out of it, send something out of a book with the J38 key that I had. Back in high school, I had that key. And then you'd play it back about 2 days later, so you wouldn't memorize it. And then what else did I do? I learned the code by opposites, which is probably the worst way to do it. So first I just looked at it and said it. I didn't send it. It was like A, B, A, dit, da, B, da, dit, 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 C, da, dit, da, dit. And I just said it, and then you could be riding your bike and, hey, there's a stop sign, stop. S-T-O-P, dit, 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 da, 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 dit, da, da, dit. So, and I did opposites. A, dit, da, and the opposite is N, da, dit. And B, I don't think it has an opposite, does it? Da, dit, 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 da, da, da. Maybe J. C, da, 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 dit, dit, da. I don't think it has an opposite. D, da, dit, 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 da, da, which is W. So I learned the opposites. So I thought, W is the opposite of D and F, and it seems confusing now. I would not recommend anybody do it, but that's how I did it. I thought, well, it would be easier if I just learned half of it and then knew which ones, like an A, dit, da, and N is da, dit. It's just the opposite of the A. And so, unfortunately, sometimes you get confused like a P and an X because they're opposites. Dit, da, da, dit is the P, and da, dit, dit, da is the X. And so I remember in my novice days, I would sit there and it's like, oh, was that a P or an X? So be careful if you do it that way.
No, that's great, actually. So I think I'm pronouncing this right. The Coke method, or the Coke way of learning this, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I think that when I teach kids music and rhythm, that's kind of the method that I try and prescribe, although I didn't even know it was called the Coke method. But no, that's interesting. Although I'm trying this Coke method, I'm always curious just to find out how other people learned it. I could probably get a little deeper in there, but it's just always interesting to hear how folks did it. The records, I did know about the records. I've never heard, although that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I guess not many folks can do that anymore these days. About doing it from a 33 and then jumping up to 45 and then 78. That's cool. I've never heard that before.
I'm sure I have the record here somewhere. It's a 33 record, and we had one of those old stereo players with the speakers on the side. And I remember my dad coming in, and I had that thing going at 78. And he just looked at me like, okay, I think you're finally. I knew you were crazy, and you have just proved it. But I memorized the record anyway. The sad story is this. This is 72, 73, and I was ready. I was ready to take my license or to go get tested because there was no VEs yet, so I probably would have had to drive up to somewhere in Los Angeles, the FCC office, and college got in the way, and I didn't get my license. I didn't. I would have been a WA6 call probably, or a W. Yeah, I probably would have been a WA6 call. I didn't do it. I didn't do it until probably 12 years later. So that's the sad part of the story. Is I had my Hallicrafters receiver, my SX25. Oh, and I wanted to give credit. This J38 key was given to me by my first Elmer, Terry. K7NFE was K7FE. He just recently passed away, a silent key, which is very disappointing because I hadn't heard him on the air. But this was 40 years ago. And he came over. I don't even, this story's going to take too long. I had my CB radio, and he lived 3 blocks away. It was like the only other person in town that had a CB radio, and I used to give him signal reports because he was building these transistorized linear amplifiers. And I had an S meter that works. And he was a ham. And it's like, there's something, you can have more fun with CB. So he came over and he lent me an SX, I think it was 99 or 101 Hallicrafters receiver and a Q multiplier and the J38 key. Notice I still have the J38 key. And what else? I heard my first contact. He was mobile. He was driving down Sepulveda Boulevard and talking to Texas on a giant mobile radio in his Cadillac. So that was Terry. K7FE. If you're listening, Terry, I still have your J38 key. You came and you took the receiver back and the Q multiplier, but I don't know if you left me with the J38 key on purpose, but I still have it. That is my key. So you did good. All right, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, so obviously, I don't know anything about that situation. You know what? I'm going to make a guess that key was left on purpose. That's a great story. That's a phenomenal story. And I'm sure he's listening and is quite proud that 40 years after the fact that you're having a conversation about this. That's a great story.
Yeah, and it turns out he was an administrator for QRZ. It was, they called it like a super administrator. So that was one of the first ham contact guys back then. Then when I came to Fresno, Ken Holden and all the guys there. But look back as Elmers, as they call him, that would have been the first guy that said, you need to be a ham, and here's some stuff to do it. And then I almost did it, but I didn't do it. But I did do it. All right, that's all. I'm talking way too much. The stream is still up. I want to do, we're going to, when I sign off here, I'm going to keep the stream up, and I'm going to see what's happening on field day through the Starduster. That's going to be pretty weak, but we'll give it a try.
Okay, 73, have a good one. And I didn't even realize it was a field day. I thought that was going to be next weekend, but I guess I'm having my own field day, but inside on AC power and in a comfortable leather chair in an air-conditioned room. I don't know if that classifies as a field day, but thanks. Actually, that's definitely food for thought and a great story that you just shared. So thanks. 73, out of trouble.
Yeah, I love my J38 key. If Terry actually came through the door, I would say you're not getting it back. Just tell me what you want for it, because you're not getting your J38 key back. And it wasn't that great. The J38 key, I think this might have been Lionel, the train people. It was for train. There's a, if you Google J38, it'll tell you about them, but it's on a little plastic or Bakelite base. And I'm sure it can be, I've seen them on eBay polished up. I don't think this is brass. I've tried polishing it, but it just doesn't look good. And the little handle has got a scratch in it, but I ain't giving it up. Okay, what do I want to do? I think that's it. We are going to keep the stream up, and I'm going to maybe take a couple minutes to see what's happening here. All right, 73, everybody. Thanks for letting me babble on here about the old days of becoming ham. So the moral of this story is, if you're like me back then, but it's now, and you are contemplating but haven't done it yet to get your amateur radio license, one, you don't even need the code anymore, so scratch that off. Get yourself a J38 key and do it anyway, because it's still a mode of operation, but you don't need it for the test. Go study and get your license, because it's the bottom of the sunspot cycle. Antennas are made out of wires. They're easy to do. And if you've got a radio, great. If not, you got plenty of time before the sunspots happen. And you'll like it. You'll be a better person. Good night, everybody. All right.
Okay, 17.
All right. We are moving frequency here. What are we going to do? Let's go to 14 megs. Let me get on the right antenna. And I doubt we're going to hear a darn thing on 20 meters. Pretty much confirmed. All right, let's head over to 40 meters.
Zulu Echo 1 Delta Alpha Bravo.
I recognize that voice. 7181. And I can't hear who he's talking to, and I don't know if he's rag chewing or if it's a field day, but I recognize the voice.
Whiskey 7 Juliet Zulu Echo 1 Delta Alpha Bravo 73.
Yeah, he's doing field day. Let's hear his call. I think this guy might be in Canada. Then we call 7181 is where we're at.
November 1 Hotel Radio 1 Delta Alpha Bravo.
This is off the Starduster, by the way.
Okay, Arizona, are you at your home station and running on commercial power, over?
Oh, that's what I forgot to tell Mike, that he has a designator for sitting at home, being on power. You have to go to the ARRL website, and you'll get your designation.
Okay, doing well. So give everybody 1 Delta. Arizona for the field day, QSL.
And notice the band is long. I'm not even hearing Arizona.
73, Victor Echo 6 Oscar, there's a field day.
I knew it was a VE6 and I missed his call.
Victor Echo 7, November Sugar Radio, 1 Delta Alpha Bravo.
Wow, that was weird.
Thank you, VE6 Alpha Oscar.
VE6AO.
73, QRZ. Whiskey Quebec 6 Charlie Sugar, 1 Delta Alpha Bravo.
All right, VE6AO is the Calgary Amateur Radio Association. I recognize this guy's voice. I don't know what his name is, but I know he was from Canada, so.
Kilo Quebec 6, thank you. VE6 Alpha Oscar.
He's got a great signal. Great audio.
Whiskey Zero Radio Delta Radio, 1 Delta Alpha Bravo.
His radio's doing a weird digital thing, though. I'm going to switch the video.
Victor Echo 6 America, Ontario.
Switching the video. If you're watching the video, there's a shot of the
VE7 Charlie Radio Charlie, 1 Delta Alpha Bravo.
The VE6AO station with an alpha 9500 amp. No wonder they're probably running
1
full.
1 Delta, 1 Denmark, 1 Delta Alpha Bravo.
It's probably running full kilowatt. All right, that's 7181. So if you're SWLing, I bet you're going to hear this guy.
Alpha Oscar. CQ Field Day, CQ, VE6AO, Victor Echo 6 Alpha Oscar. Victor Echo 6 Alpha Oscar, Field Day.
S9 on the Starduster. All right, let's move up the band and see who else has got a good signal. So the band is long. (70206), not very loud. Some guys in the 7230. Oh, that VE6 was just super loud under here.
Is that Victor Echo?
Oh, the VEs, wow.
Something Victor?
7235, just below that.
VE6 Charlie Kilo something?
This is 40
Charlie
meters.
Kilo Yankee, I think. VE6 CKY, 1 Bravo San Diego. Thank you. QRZ W6 Kilowatt Hotel. November 0 Echo 1 Bravo San Diego.
That's San Diego, so the band isn't all that long.
QRZ W6 Kilo Hotel. Romeo Victor. Romeo Victor.
My guess is another guy running big power.
N6 Kilo Romeo Victor 1 Bravo San Diego.
And if I was smart, I would know what 1 Bravo is.
QRZ W6 Kilo Hotel.
That's pretty cool. W6KH Richard in Vista, which is near San Diego.
W6JLK 1 Bravo San Diego.
Look at a picture of Richard. I was in San Diego this week. Can you believe that? I was actually there at a conference.
W6JU 1 Bravo San Diego.
I'm going to get a picture of Richard here for you.
Thanks, QRZ W6 Kilowatt Hotel. Lima Kilo Charlie.
There is the guy we're listening to, right there. Look at that old stuff. Look at his old stuff. He's got an HRO. He's got a Hammerlin. Notice the Hammerlin there? That's like the HQs to check in.
Lima Kilo Charlie. What's the prefix?
It's like a Collins. That's the dude we're listening to. What's his name? Richard.
N0 Lima Kilo Charlie 1 Bravo San Diego.
Licensed H14 in Seattle.
Okay, QRZ W6 Kilo Hotel.
Hit the HF bands in 1954.
W5. QRZ W6 Kilo Hotel. CQ Field Day W6 Kilo Hotel.
Bravo 7, Whiskey Sierra Delta.
BDB, 1 Bravo San Diego. K7 BDB, 1 Bravo San Diego.
I hope I have that much stamina when I'm old. I love the Radio Shack.
Thank you, QRZ, W6 Hotel.
I doubt he's on the vintage gear. Here are all the people trying to get in.
NC7G, 1 Bravo San Diego.
Field day is pretty cool. That's
NC7G, 1 Bravo San Diego.
7235.
What was the number? Something Whiskey Alpha.
And I'm surprised I'm here in San Diego. Must be just enough.
Thank you, QRZ, W6 Kilo Hotel.
That's Sierra Delta's Triumph.
W7 Bravo. W7.
Let's see if he gets that Sierra Delta station.
Whiskey 7. CQ Field Day, W6 Kilowatt Hotel. W7 Papa again. W7 PRA, 1 Bravo San Diego. Thank you, QRZ, W6 Kilowatt Hotel. 7 TV, 1 Bravo San Diego. Thank you, QRZ, W6 Kilo Hotel. The N6. Is there a November 6th? Yes, not. W6 Hotel Yankee. W6HY, 1 Bravo San Diego. Thank you, QRZ, W6 Kilo Hotel.
I guess they gave up. I was rooting for that Whiskey Sierra Delta. They were good up. They were just kind of getting in there right at the right time, but wasn't able to be heard. That's the way to do it, though. Persistence. You got all night. If you got all night, you can get in. All right, let's try 75, and then I'll shut this thing down. Over to 75 meters on the Starduster. Oh, there's some AM guys. Let's listen to the AM guys. 3870. Oh, sorry about the audio here. Let me turn the audio down. Sorry about that.
We always get,
That's the 3870. Some audio guys, AM guys rather. Let's see if we can find some field day here.
Whiskey Alpha 9 or Sierra Tango India.
Okay, got Whiskey Alpha, and I'm not sure of the number, and I'm missing the first letter in the suffix, so I got Whiskey Alpha and then the Tango India.
Yeah, Whiskey Alpha 9er. Whiskey Alpha 9er, Sierra Tango India. Whiskey Alpha 9er, Sierra Tango India.
Roger, Roger. Whiskey Alpha 9er, Sierra Tango India. This is Alpha Alpha 6. Delta X-ray. We are 4 Alpha San Francisco.
Sierra Juliet Victor. 1 Bravo. Sierra Juliet Victor.
Okay, I copy 1 Bravo. Sierra Juliet Victor.
All right, don't be fooled by the 9 call. He's in California.
Good luck, Owen. Georgia Alpha Alpha 6 Delta X-ray. 7 Quebec, 7 Quebec. 7 Quebec. Alpha Alpha 6 Delta X-ray. Copy. We are 4 Alpha San Francisco.
All right, that's 75 meters where we're hearing most of the stations. They were in California, northern, southern California. That's at 3858. So field day is going strong. At night, when the 20-meter and 15-meter bands close up, you move on down to 75 and 40. And away you go. And anybody can do it. You don't have to be sitting in a tent. You just have to know your designator for power and location and things like that. All right. Let me see if our Canadian station is still there. We'll get out of here. Fading out a little bit, but it's still there. So have fun in field day. Make some contacts tomorrow. I might try to do that. I might try to do that up on the 10 if it opens up. Good night, everybody. That's field day. Happens every year. I believe it's the last weekend in June. Everybody is welcome. You don't have to be a ham to run into wherever they're doing it, and they might even put you on the air. Good night from the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's make sure I haven't blown anything up here. I like that guy's station. Let's go back to control room. I'll catch you next. Hello on the Old Tube Radio Network. See, I've got the bug. I can't put it away here.
Hey, Oliver, a lot.
One more. Who's that? This is the loud guy.
Yeah, well, he's a man of the world. Okay, see you later. Who is calling W6K8?
7235, just below that. Let's see where these guys are. Then we'll shut it down.
Again, QRZ, W6 kilowatt hog.
Kilowatt hog.
W6K8, anyone? Uniform 6 Sierra. Uniform 6 Sierra.
W6K. Oh, that's the guy we had.
Yeah,
he's got to be running kilowatt.
Uniform 6 Sierra.
That's Richard there in Vista. 73, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network. Good night.
KU6S1 Bravo San Diego.